The year is 2013. Bill Microsoft is about to invent one of the most revolutionary pieces of tech that the world has ever seen. Hamburger Helper. It helps so many hamburgers. Then, as a side project, he made this thing called the computer with his computer. Now people could upload videos of themselves to youtubes.com, where they did this crap with a bottle of ketchup. For the record, that ketchup's still on my monitor. I have no reason to clean it. I thought I'd make a behind the scenes video because I've only uploaded 5 times this year. I saw that, I was kind of disappointed. I guess it's 6 because of the pool video, but we don't talk about that. So this video is also going to have some bonus footage and stuff that was cut. So I guess you can stick around for that. This video was originally just going to be for the bison video, but I realized when I was done with that one that I only recorded like 6 edits or something. So instead I asked people from my Discord server for anything that they wanted to see broken down or any questions they have. So real quick, the most common question I get asked is, what editing and recording software do I use? And I use Sony Vegas Pro 17 primarily. I paused for a second so you can laugh at me. Other than that, I do a lot of work in After Effects, Blender, Photoshop, and SFM. I use Ableton Live occasionally for music and sound stuff. It's what I'm recording this in right now. And then I use a bunch of free software to do various other things. I record using GeForce Experience, though this is probably the last video that I'll ever use it on. I guess I'll start with the Wii scene, since this seemed to be the most visually pleasing to a lot of people. So this was done in Blender. This is the first video where I did most of the Blender work myself, and for that I had to learn how to use Blender. So here's what this shot looks like if you strip away all the on-screen stuff. I basically just masked this from a high-quality screen recording. To get all the props, I imported Hightower into Blender. There's a bunch of tutorials out there for porting source maps. Then I pick out which ones I want and append them into a new project. I animated them so that at the beginning it scales on its upward axis faster, giving it a kind of animated, cartoonish look, I don't know. It's most noticeable on this crate. And then also really important is the bounce. It's not really easy to see on anything but the cactus. Basically it just goes past what its final size will be. The 2 classes here were filmed using a program called HLAE. I've talked about this to people so much it sounds like I was paid by them. Anyway, what this allows me to do is take in-game actions and convert them into usable data. You can do this with VIA models too. I didn't for this video though. I did have to mess with the starting tick for both of these actions to get the timing synced up. It sounds really annoying, but I don't remember it being as bad as it sounds. And then there's the floor. It's just a big plane. Bad practice, I know. Blender does a lot of things for you, like the reflections are super easy to get, you just slide one slider. This might as well be called the look good slider, if you use it tastefully. This is not very tasteful. HLAE also makes things very simple because I don't know how to arrange animations and blend them, and parenting can sometimes be a nightmare, and texturing can sometimes be a nightmare. I've linked the tutorial I learned this stuff from. All in all, this was a pretty simple scene to make, but looks kinda dope. Here's an early version of what it looked like before I decided to add characters. Actually, no, wait, I did have characters originally, they just didn't stop. I don't think I have these, I think I overwrote the files. So they're just completely gone. Never mind, I found them. Before I move on to the next edit, I've got to tell you about Enlisted, a multiplayer World War II shooter. Enlisted has a strong focus on being historically accurate while also keeping the gameplay dynamic with the player being fully immersed. Imagine you are an army guy in the army. You're about to fight in your first army war. You have trained so hard to defend your country. As I mentioned, Enlisted has a high degree of historical authenticity, with great attention to detail in its equipments, uniforms, vehicles, and locations. Did you know that back then, they had explosions too? I really like the weapon variety in this game, especially since I get bored of using the same weapons in games all the time. My videos definitely reflect this. Just like the carp in the fountain at the mall, this game is free of charge. You can play it right now on your PC, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, or someone else's PC, Xbox, or PlayStation. And you can even use my link for bonus weapons and soldiers. Thank you Enlisted for the sponsor. Let's get back to the video. Well, if that's what a simple edit looks like, then what's not a simple edit? 13 hours. 13 hours over the course of roughly 3 days to get 8 seconds. Granted, it's probably my favorite 8 seconds in the whole video, but this was easily the most headache-inducing thing to make. This commenter figured it out though. This is pretty much exactly what I did. Basically, I had to use Black Ops 3's mod tool Radiant Black. I hate Radiant Black. For other parts of this video, I had to use Hammer with the help of a friend. Hammer's pretty scary, but compared to Radiant, Hammer is... I don't know, it's cool. Fuck Radiant. Just my opinion. Anyway, like the comment said, I installed the mod tools, which didn't work the first 2 times I tried to download it. Converted 2Fort into a prefab. But before I could do that, I had to use some guy's third-party tool that only worked if you got a specialized version that he sent you. And then you have to make sure it doesn't game end you if you walk to a certain part of the map. Also, why do mystery boxes not work with no add-ons? What the fuck? Was it worth it? Yeah, it was totally worth it. This part doesn't even make any sense in the video. Still my favorite though. Okay, I get asked about this effect quite a bit, so this is called datamoshing. I feel like the hardest part about pulling off this effect is knowing what the hell it's called. Back then I had this script in Vegas that did this in like 2 clicks. It's really that simple. The script doesn't seem to work anymore though. So instead, for the bison video, I caved and bought this plugin for After Effects called Datamosh 2. I'll be the first to admit that the way I used it in the bison video is underwhelming. This is a terrible example of what Datamosh 2 can do. How do I organize clips? In clip dumps, I name every clip after what happens in them, and I number all of them in chronological order. Sometimes I'll split them up into categories. But yeah, you are gonna have to deal with 80 gig of shit's worth of videos in one single folder. Sorry. I keep all project files and assets and whatever in a separate folder, and then I usually just delete the folders after I'm done with the video. Not this time though. I've been holding on to about half a terabyte just for this video. It's been a year. How did I make the demo man do this? Well, if you go frame by frame, you can see a subtle lighting change. That's when everything but the HUD switches to gmod. It was just a matter of matching the view in gmod to the view in the video, using some reference points. This is before I knew about OBS overlays. The motion blur certainly helps. The killstreak exploding. Okay, so this was probably like the second most annoying thing to make. I don't even remember exactly what I did to make it work, so this will probably be an incomplete answer. Rigid body physics in Blender are very useful, but also confusing as hell sometimes. This final shot is 2 different renders combined together. One is a normal version of the box thing that I modeled, and it just falls and hits the ground, and the other is the fractured version. I used one of these settings here to make it so that it only starts calculating the physics when it hits the ground, otherwise it would break apart midair and the cut would look bad. The pieces would just explode on their own. The shape was made using something in Blender called cell fracture, and I spent hours trying to get it to look correct. I had to remodel the whole thing at one point because the topology was terrible, and I remember that actually kind of fixed it. Like, it wasn't working before that, and then it started working. So make sure your geometry's good. Do I storyboard my videos? Other than some minor planning, no. How do I keep getting away with stealing your content? When are you going to tell everyone that you're a fake and that Gort edits all your videos? Not answering that. Crumpled paper transitions. Okay, I've done this transition I think 3 times now, and each time I used a different method. The first time was with Vegas's built-in mesh warp effect. It looks terrible. This is the worst of the 3. The second time was with this PowerPoint transition. I love these goddamn things. The third was with Blender. This one is the best, but it was also really fiddly. So I got this animation with the paper crumpling right, but when I went to bake it, it became just a totally different animation that looks like garbage. So instead of baking it, I just rendered the frames one by one, and it worked, since I wanted this stop motion look anyway. That also answers this question. This curtain is a PowerPoint transition, and so is this crane. There's more, but I forgot where they are. Alright, bison video intro. Most of this intro was done in SFM, which means I had to learn how to use SFM. It's a tough program, but I like it more than I dislike it. Honestly, it's really not as bad as people say, even though for this video I was doing some really primitive stuff. Also, I mean, look at this composition, bro. You can tell I was new to this. Quick shout out to NoZero, though, for helping me with some of this stuff early on. I'll go over the most important parts of this intro, and let me know if you need anything else cleared up. This effect is called Electrify. It comes with Red Giant Universe. I got this wireframe by exporting the soldier model to Blender, applying the wireframe modifier, exporting it from Blender, importing it into SFM, setting the animation to be the same, rendering it with a green screen, getting rid of the green screen, changing the color, putting a glow, animating a mask that goes down, and animating an inverted mask. I had to do the masking part twice because it looked terrible the first time I did it. I drew these in Photoshop. Basically, I just resized the image down to something small, drew it, and then resized it back up using this setting. Each frame of this error is about 6 or so error boxes. It's a million layers in Photoshop and a million more exports. And then I give this old school soldier model the running animation and make it look like he's running on it. The animation is a bit wonky, but that's because it's all lies. The ASCII was done by following a tutorial by Joey Carlino. Shout out people like this who wake up and do complicated math on their computers and then just share it with people for free. Motion blur and depth of field make it look even better. This part is inspired by the Take Me Out music video. The laser was made with a plugin called Stardust. I made this in SFM with a green screen, and I turned it into pencil sketches using another After Effects tutorial. I'm a fraud and all my edits are from tutorials. This pixelating was a last minute thing. It looks a lot better if you can add a posterize effect before it. Template transition, I have no shame. Blender crime scene tape I made from another tutorial. More template transitions, more tutorials. Tutorials are helpful, right? But like, I would use them in moderation because experimenting on your own is important. If you're a new editor, I encourage you to watch tutorials just to learn and not to just copy one for one, so that one day you won't be reliant on tutorials to make effects and you can just do them from scratch using your head. Anyway, who cares? Guys, check this out. I got my play button. Isn't this crazy? I gotta do that YouTuber trope where they just show off the play button every chance they get. Everyone does this. Everyone with a play button does this. They have it in like the background of everything. You know what I mean? Anyway. Okay, so this next edit is you guys see my play button? Intro sound design. Yeah, I did sound design for this part and pretty much the rest of this video and every video. Most of it is just MP3 samples. I guess instead of talking about it, I'll just show you. Outro sequence. Alright, you guys already picked up on the fact that this was heavily inspired by the intro to jazz punk, with some parts being straight up ripoffs. I mean, it's meant to be obvious. I'm not really trying to hide that. Anyway, it was all animated in Blender and rendered where all the objects were black and the background was transparent so I can map the colors and timings in After Effects. And there are more rigid bodies used for the funnel part. Was the funnel actually a funnel or was it just rectangles? I can't remember. Oh no, it's a funnel. The music part is probably my favorite part. The notes are actually the same chords as what's being played on the keyboards. I should know since I transcribed the keyboard part I sent to Pete. I didn't have a keyboard when I was making this, but I do now. Once again, I used HLAE to get these actions, and we get one of those editor moments where things line up perfectly first try, and you don't have to tweak a bunch of crap. Originally, actually, the music part wasn't there, and it was instead this stairs thing that's totally lame, and I'm glad I got rid of it. This is a bunch of SVGs I got off the internet. Some of them are from this Google site, I think, and I scattered them with particle systems. How long does it take? Pretty much the amount of time between videos. I don't do this full time. I'm not putting 25 hours a day into a video or staying up all night making them. This video though took longer than it had any right to. The last 2 weeks was spent trying to renew my plugins so that I could render and upload the damn thing. You wanna know why I rotoscoped the grenade launcher here? Okay. I try to make the beginnings of videos the most visually dense, and slapping the kill feed up on its own felt lazy. So I rotoscoped it because I thought it looked cool. It would look even cooler if I had the plugin licensed and could rotoscope the rest. Oh well. How do I make stuff low bitrate? Well, there's multiple ways. The first is to use this Sapphire plugin called JPEG Damage. It's what you see here, for example. The other way is a free program called Handbrake. I know barely anything about this program, but if you slide this down to about here, it looks pretty good to me. I combined both Handbrake and JPEG Damage for this section of the CSGO video. For audio, I put all of it into Audacity and export it with these settings. How much does it cost? More than I'd like to admit. Expenses come from software, plugins, parts, crack, audio equipment, super cracked, you get the point. Another reason I'm making this video now and not something better is because I'm currently upgrading my computer and other aspects of my setup. Someone asked what my current specs are, so here they are. Let me get serious again for a second. I know the videos recently have been pretty not great, at least in my standards. Maybe you disagree. I've been in my sellout era recently, but it's about to get a whole lot better because of this upgrade. So thank you for watching my stupid videos and helping me justify buying it. And if you'd still like to show extra support... Hold on, I've got every color memorized. Does color mean anything to you? It means give me your money. This is the one and only time I'll mention the Patreon in a video. This will go towards covering those expenses I mentioned before. I won't spend all the money on Fortnite skins. In return, you'll get some cool stuff, like more stuff that got cut, stuff that was never going to go in a video anyway, and most importantly, assets that I've created myself. I won't be paywalling all of it though. I think I said in the description of the last video that that would be the last clips focused video. I don't blame you for not reading those, by the way. I have those big paragraphs so I can just stuff them with keywords. Anyway, I'll probably post a small one with all the extra clips because uploads are probably going to take a little longer. This goes directly against what I just said a minute ago, but I should ignore that. Should go without saying this is completely optional and all main videos will always be free to watch with ads. Unless you have ad block. Does this mean no more sponsorships? It's hard to say. When you're a channel like mine and videos take forever to make and ad revenue is abysmal, sponsorships are very valuable to say the least. I probably won't have any more for a while though for other reasons. Okay, I should shut up about money crap. How about that cut content? People were kind of upset when I told them that this got cut. Okay, so in the bison video I was gonna have this bit on how I decide what map I play. Have you ever seen like those things where you blindfold yourself and you like throw a dart at a map or a globe? It was basically this, but with a spray and a sniper rifle. I was gonna put this in, then I didn't. Then I was gonna put it in as a gag at the end, but then it got cut again. So this got cut twice. Okay, let's go. What? Alright, let's go check it out. Oh wow, we cut 2 for it. I mean, what are the chances of that? Sometimes I cut things that were a lot of work. BP walked me through replacing every texture on this map, and then I didn't even use it. A bunch of stuff gets cut because I think it doesn't look good, or it doesn't look right. A bunch of stuff also gets left out because you get a bunch of takes, but you only need one. I don't know if I have anything funny enough to be considered shitting your pants hilarious, but here's some stuff that's kind of funny that happened during or outside production.
Gosh. Oh my god, are you the real Ryan Reynolds? Dude, I love your movies, dude! I'm dead!
A few minutes later.
And since I recorded, here's that intro thing. I just want to put it out there. I stole it from this video. This is a really great video. I didn't do it nearly as good as them. And here's a time lapse of that escapist part, which, except for the orange text, was actually done entirely in Photoshop. Forgot to record most of it though, and I'm kind of upset about that. I do have the project file though. Oh, and of course the trowel. Very important. Alright, now you know some of my secrets. That's all I got. Hey. Thanks for watching the whole thing. Make sure you check out Enlisted. Use the link in the description, play it for free, and get some cool stuff. And while you're there, say hi to Killer Peter for me. Also hit the subscribe button. Thank you. Bye.
And then somebody decides to park their kid right in front of the whole place because it's at the end of the mall, and their kid is just going.